that is never going to fit in there. It's not. It's the wrong size. It's not the right one. There's no way you're going to make that work. I cannot tell you how many times I've had that conversation with my wife. That's what we're going to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. You're going to want to stay tuned for this one.
Master the Story Power method to captivate your audience, improve workplace culture, and 10x your fundraising.
Scan the QR code to book your first coaching call or visit storypowercoach.com.
Master
Think storytelling's just for bedtime? Nah, it's the secret sauce for business magic. Stuck in a rut with bland pitches and yawning clients? Enter Boost Your Business with Story Power. 6 weeks of epic storytelling training. It's like leveling up in a video game but for your career. Master the art of narrative and watch connections blossom like a viral TikTok. Simple, impactful, and game-changing. Ready to transform your biz vibes? Dive in now and make storytelling your superpower.
Subscribe now for access to our extensive media library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. Begin your personal growth plan at StoryPowerAcademy.com for leadership development and communication skills training.
I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. After 32 years married, one of the things that fascinatingly comes up in our relationships is this idea that, well, to be honest, she has an astigmatism in one eye, and she has like zero depth perception. That's why I do most of the driving in the dark, because she has a real challenge with that. The funnier thing, though, is that she sometimes will say, that's not going to fit there. And it's about measurement. It's about understanding how things are going to fit. But that sometimes it's just about perception. It's about looking at how things go together and saying, yeah, that's not going to work. And when we put projects together, like this bookshelf that someone donated, I don't know if you know it or not, we have quite an extensive library. We're well over 1,000 books in our library now. Business books, leadership books, faith books, family books, how to build your family, how to rebuild a society even. We have some books on that, on how societies have been built, how societies have been destroyed. We have quite an extensive library. And on a regular basis, people who are closing down their ministries, their businesses, or just retiring will donate books that they feel like are significant toward the causes of faith, family, and freedom. And so we also have people who donate bookshelves. And we had one that was donated. It's almost 6.5 feet tall. And when they donated it, they forgot the shelves in storage. Well, the people who donated have been by a couple of times to bring us the shelves, and on 3 occasions, they've come by with shelves that do not belong to that bookshelf. And so currently, we have a 6-foot bookshelf in our library. It has 1 shelf on it. I mean, the bottom, and then 1 shelf. It could have 5. It has 1. So we have books literally piled in it and stacked in it, and they're all over the place. And so I decided, since we've been offered the other shelves for it, and none of them are the right shelves, they're the wrong color, they're the wrong size, they're too long, they're not long enough, I'm just going to go to Lowe's and buy some shelving material and put it in there myself. I even did what my grandpa instructed me to do all my life. Measure twice, cut once. I didn't even cut it. I asked the guy with the precision saw to cut it. And so I picked a nice 8-foot board. I measured them like to the T. I need 30 1/8 inches. That way I know it'll fit left to right between the 2 uprights, and it won't fall off the pins. And I measured 12 7/8 inches from the back of the bookshelf to the very front of the bookshelf. But you know, not all bookshelves come all the way to the front, right? I mean, the shelf doesn't have to match the front. It just has to make sure the books don't fall off. You know what I didn't measure was the distance between the 2 pins. You know, the little pins that go in the side walls to hold it up. I thought I measured everything important. I missed 1 step. Now, I could have measured exactly in every direction. I know that the depth was 12 7/8 inches. I mean, almost 13. 13 would have actually stuck out past the edge of the bookshelf and caught on people's sleeves and that kind of thing. but 12 inches, that should be safe. So here's what happens. I put the shelf in there, and the 30 and 1/8 inches, perfect. I mean, I didn't have to tilt it, I didn't have to wedge it, it went in perfectly. But that 7/8 of an inch between the front and the back, if you push it all the way to the back of the shelf, which is practical, the pins are too far forward to catch it. So if you slide it all the way to the back of the shelf, it just falls. And if you slide it all the way to the front, it just falls. So literally, with 7/8 of an inch, that's not a lot of space, but with 7/8 of an inch, I cannot put the shelf on the pins without routering the ends of it so it doesn't slide back and forth. Now, the precision necessary to router that space to the exact depth, otherwise the shelf will wobble, to the exact measurement from the front edge of the shelf and the back edge of the shelf on all 3 shelves that I had cut to fit in there. That's going to take a little bit of precision. Now you're probably asking yourself, what in the world does your inability to build a bookshelf have to do with my leadership skills? Pay close attention, because I'll promise you at some point you've had someone on your team who was a bad fit. And they were a bad fit because you didn't measure everything necessary to make sure they were a good fit up front. Now, the good news is, with a router or a drill bit, or I don't know, just my little tiny, what do they call that little Dremel tool. With my Dremel tool, I can fix the problem. I can. Just a little grinding. I can measure to exactly where the pins go and put it in there and then do it the same thing, 4 different times, and I'll be all good. But it's time that I shouldn't have to spend. And if I'd simply looked for a 13-inch board, I could have solved the problem. If I had actually paid someone to bring the proper shelves or bought another bookshelf, I could have saved the problem. So now you're asking yourself the question, as a leader, what investments have I made where I thought I could save a little money, save a little time on the front end, take a little bit of a shortcut, not read the entire resume. I'm just going to trust AI to read the resume. They probably used AI to read your job description to write the resume. So AI wrote the job description, probably. AI read the job description, probably. AI wrote the resume to match the job description, probably. AI is going to read the job description against the AI written resume and decide if this person's a good hire or not. Did you save time and money? Probably so. Are you going to have a good fit? Probably about like my bookshelf. It fits perfectly on one dimension, not so much on the other. And on the dimension that it doesn't fit, it's not a major problem. It's just going to be an inconvenience. Can you imagine if I put an entire row of encyclopedias on that shelf and it only needs a 1/4 of an inch bump to the back of the shelf before the whole shelf slides off the pins and falls down and dumps everything on the shelf? Can you picture that in your head, how easily that could happen? I would just try to put a book between where it goes. Right, between the A and the Z, you got to put the B in there, right? Then when you're shoving it in there, that's a tight fit and the whole shelf slides, and now you're picking up all the books. See, those are the kinds of inconveniences that follow the shortcuts that you took up front. And I'll tell you one of the biggest shortcuts that we take. As leaders, we have this bizarre myopic view that if you have not already done what I'm about to do, there's no chance you could understand it. We call the people that we look to who have already done what we're about to do as mentors. And we say, I need your advice, I need your input, I need your understanding, I need your shortcuts. What have you done that kept you from building a bookshelf that was too small? How did you alleviate that? What would you have done differently so that you're not where I am now? Again, remedies, they're not super complicated. They're not even super expensive. They're just time consuming. And If I go one step further and go, it's going to be fine, I'll just put the shelves in there. They can't slide left or right anyway, and once the weight of the books are on them, they're not going anywhere. It'll be fine. No. I have a bookshelf right now that someone tried to move while it was loaded. It bowed the outside frame, and now one of the pins that holds one of the shelves won't reach the pin because the bookshelf weighted down, slid sideways with now a bowed vertical, can't reach it. It just won't. And the result is I have to put a big book on the bottom left under that shelf to keep the whole thing from falling and dumping all the books out. And the only way to fix that now is to completely unload the bookshelf, straighten the frame back up, put a brace on the back of it, and then put it back together again. That project alone is probably a 2.5, 3 hour project. You know what would have saved it? Putting the bookshelf in the proper place before it was loaded. And if that didn't happen, I don't know, use some wheels when you're moving it while it's fully loaded. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know, use the proper tools. Or, scariest thought of all, simply unload the bookshelf before you move it into space. And see, all of these are very similar to using AI to use AI to use AI to use AI. Asking someone unqualified to give you advice because they've never done it before. How do you prevent the problem that you have right now? There's a guy named Parker who does these roadside automotive fixes. And he rolls up and this girl's got a truck that's just making an awful, awful noise. And she's like, I don't know what the problem is. He starts cranking it. It's like it's a timing belt. It's a timing. He pulls off the timing cover, has to disassemble the whole front of the car. He's able to put it back together. It was 2 plastic guides. It was probably 5 hours of labor for $20 worth of plastic to fix her problem. It was making an awful noise and it was unusable, but it was a fairly new Infiniti SUV. Good investment. Easy fix for him. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's got all the right tools in the back of his pickup. He rolls up on another one, diagnoses the problem, and he looks at it and he's like, I'm going to be honest. It's got 330,000 miles on it. That car was disposable when you bought it, and now it's way past its life. Is it fixable? Yes. Is it worth it? No. I mean, it's eating spark plugs. And I don't mean like they're burning out. I mean like the threads are gone and the spark plug fell down inside the exhaust as a result. That's not a good fix. It's a disposable car to begin with. But see, that's the kind of questions we ask as leaders. When we've already reached a disastrous conclusion, we're already at a place where like, I think it could be fixed, but I don't know. At some point, you got to cut bait. I mean, the woman stood in the parking lot crying. She's like, it's the only car I have. I got 2 kids in school. I got a full-time job. What am I supposed to do without a car? He's like, I don't know the answer to that question. I just know whether the fix on that car was $50 or $5,000, that car's not worth investing the fix. How many people do you have in your team? That you can invest $5,000 or $50,000, you can retrain them, you can move them to another position, but to undo the disastrous mess they've already done in your business, I mean, it's just a bookshelf. It's not that big a deal. But the day that I have a customer in the studio and we're talking about a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 contract, and that bookshelf falls and dumps things all over the place, what kind of attitude am I going to have? Am I going to be in the kind of mood where I react to that with the frustration and anger that normally I would? Or am I going to be in a calm, cool, collected mode? Am I going to be the kind of guy that's going to lose it over this bookshelf, dumping all my books on the floor, and end up losing a customer and a brand and a reputation as a result? And yes, I'm using myself as the example, and I'm hoping you have enough sense to superimpose that same question on you. When that person you've hired, because their resume matched your job description, matched your ability to read their resume, and you hired them, and now they're in place, and you realize they're the one standing between you and the next big customer. And all the train wreck they've already created in your business, you can't undo it. But the question is, do you allow the train wreck to continue, or do you get the train off the tracks and move on to the next thing? That's a hard thing. Just before we recorded this podcast, I was on a mastermind call. And on this mastermind call, we have people from literally all walks of life. Accountants, real estate people, roofing experts, digital product creators, home inspectors. I mean, literally, all of those people are on this call. And you think to yourself, what do these people have in common? Why in the world would that group of people be on one mastermind call? Well, the answer is really simple. They all have one primary target, and that is personal development for the purpose of business growth. How do I make me a better business owner, a better leader, a better marketer, a better salesperson, a better strategist? How do I improve that in me so that my business can continue to grow and eventually reach the place where it's a scalable business worthy of exit? Who wouldn't want to reach retirement with a nice little goodbye check? I don't just mean a pension and a 401k set aside, hoping it doesn't get taxed into oblivion. I mean a payout, a paycheck, where somebody writes you to go sit on the beach and put your feet up. Oh, who doesn't want that? Well, the challenge is, the first 15 years of my business, I didn't think like that. I wasn't surrounded by the kind of people who are like, okay, so once you reach 6 figures, you're not done. How do you get to 8? 8 figures? There's 8 in an income? You can do that? See, that wasn't even my philosophy 15 years ago when I started this. I remember telling my kids, one day we're going to break that 6-figure mark. And it took a minute. It took some effort. It also took some new ways of thinking. It took measuring not twice to cut once, but measuring like 15 times. Measuring everything that matters. Measuring the investment that you have. My wife and I over dinner just last night had the conversation about changing our sales script and our sales process. And I'm like, look, this is what works, and this is what I've been doing. She said, I really don't like this new method. I don't feel comfortable with it. It's the one that always annoys me about other people. And I'm like, I get it. But other people are not asking, can we go on vacation this year? They're asking, where are we going for vacation? I'm tired of asking, can we go? I want to ask, where are we going? And that's not going to change until we increase our revenue. And we can't increase our revenue without increasing sales. And we can't increase sales without not doing what we've been doing, because what we've been doing is not working to the level we want it to. That's not a comfortable conversation. Does that even fit in our business? Does that even fit in our style? Does it even fit in our lifestyle? Does that fit with the people around us? I listened to a very short video this morning I shared with a lot of my clients, and especially with my kids. And I said, here's 15 ways that wealthy people think differently. One of those ways that stood out was wealthy people, the 1%, tend to have big libraries. And people who are not in the 1% tend to have big televisions. And I brought that up on the mastermind call, and somebody said, well, and when you reach a certain level of spending time in that big library, you have a right to put your feet up and have a big television too. I guess early on, if you're focused on the bigger TV and the bigger TV and the bigger TV and the screen and projector and the home theater, that's probably going to slow down how long before you get it all paid off. On the other hand, I listened to a billionaire yesterday. Let's see, his name, still on my sticky note, Sharan Srivatsa. And one of the things he pointed out was, he said, I came to the U.S. at 16 years old playing tennis just to get into school. I remember diving in the dumpster. These are his words, not mine. He said, I remember diving in the dumpster and stealing pizza out of a box I had watched them just throw away. And I realized this is not the life I want. He also said this. He said, now that I have a net worth in the billions and I help people build and scale and sell their businesses in the billions, what is that, 9 figures, 10 figures? If you're a 10-figure business owner, you probably got a big TV and a big library, right? No, he said, what my wife and I learned years ago was to live on a certain standard of life with a certain amount of expense every month. And in 15 years, we have not changed that monthly nut. What it cost us for our mortgage, for our entertainment, for our travel, for our vacations has not changed in 15 years. There's a lot of wisdom in that, because it means when an opportunity comes along to invest in and it takes a couple $1 million to do that, he has the liquid assets to do that. I'm not there yet. But see, I've got to change the way that I think about the way that I sell, about the way that I generate money. I posted boldly in this mastermind our new pricing structure that one of my coaches is pounding me on. And one of the things my coach is pounding me on, is stop discounting what you do. Because it's not just adjusting the price of the thing that you offer, it's adjusting the value of the thing that you do. Let me say that again. When you're discounting what you sell, you're not just discounting the price at which you offer that thing, you're discounting the value of what you do. I've done that all my life. You've heard me say it. I've sabotaged every relationship I've ever been in until I met my wife, and I tried to sabotage that one. If you're not surrounding yourself with the kind of people who are going to poke you in the nose from time to time and go, there's a better way to do that, you're not seeing this clearly. They don't have to be in the same industry as you. They don't have to be in the same business as you. Some of these people who have great advice are significantly younger than me. Some significantly older than me. Some who have made a whole lot more money than I have. Some who have not made as much. But that doesn't mean their ideas are discountable. It means you should consider everything. And then ask again, is that a good fit? Did I measure twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times? Have I asked, honestly, are these the right people to surround myself with? I threw out one of the opportunities, a decision that we have to make about whether we're going to invest in another place to grow our business. It's a sizable investment. For us, it's like a month's worth of income, kind of sizable investment when you put all the numbers together. For me, looking at my past, I have to look at that and go, I know what the monthly nut is, and that's the whole thing, which means for that month, I double that monthly nut. Can I double my income to be able to cover that? I don't know. It's an unknown because it hadn't happened yet. So I've got to measure that. Well, I threw that out there in front of the group. I said, what do you think? And people who've done that kind of investment, that kind of sponsorship, that kind of opportunity, those people were able to say, here's what I think. Here's what I know. Here's what I've seen. Here's what I would do. Here's what I wouldn't do. And it made me think in ways that I hadn't thought. Measure twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Ask somebody else. These are the measurements that I got. What do you think? This is my plan. This is my idea. This is how I plan to solve it. What are your thoughts? As John Maxwell says, if you think you got a good idea, take it out for a walk. See how many people are going to go, is that even a dog? The idea of preparing as a leader to bring new people into your team, to bring new projects into your team, to take on a new opportunity. Asking, is it a good fit? Did I measure more than once before I cut? Because you can't uncut. If you cut that board at 30 inches and 1/8, and it has to be 30 inches and 1/2, you're buying a new board. You don't have a choice. You can't just stick the end of it back on there. It doesn't work that way. And if that board needs to be 12 7/8 and you buy a board that's 12 inches, you've got 7/8 of a problem. That's the problem I have. Now I can either write off the $12 that I paid for the shelf and go buy another one that's 13 inches and trim it down by 7/8 of an inch to make it fit. Or I can simply put new little grommet holes in the bottom of the board so that it will stay on the shelf. Which one is a better investment of time? Which one is a better investment of cash flow? Which one is a better idea? How would you answer that question? Which one's a better fit? Is it to remedy the problem you've created or to start over with a new solution? Love to know your answers to that. Feel free to type them in the chat. Send me a message. Send me a video message. You go, you're a moron. Here's the way I would have solved that. I'm open for all options. And I also realize that at every level of my business, everything that we do, every person that we onboard, every client that we onboard, and every contractor or employee that we onboard is going to have the same set of challenges. I can't possibly see every potential problem, which means I can't possibly solve every potential problem before it happens, which means I need coaches, mentors, advisors in my life. Let me tell you an interesting fact. That group that I was on the mastermind call with this morning, they don't even know the coach that said to me, stop discounting your prices. They've never met. But when I posted our new pricing structure, when I posted it in that group, People looked at it and went, I like that model, but you're missing something. Others said, I need a model like that. Help me build something like that in my life. And when they saw, never discounted below this number, it's a little head scratching. Anybody who's been in business for any period of time knows when you discount your prices too much, people discount you. I've always struggled with a little bit of a self-esteem issue. It's really easy for me to discount my prices. I also know that there's a place where customer loyalty has a significant value and where continuity has a significant value. And if you have something to offer people that keeps them in your community, that keeps them in relationship, that increases your ability and your durability in influence in their lives, you're going to have a greater impact in their lives. That's what I'm after. And there are ways that I will, quote unquote, pay for that loyalty by discounting my retail prices. But if you're brand new to the organization and you're not willing to invest, that just tells me you don't value me enough or you don't value you enough because other people have seen the value in what we offer. Whew. Those are hard words to say. Those are hard words for me to hear. Those are hard words for me to accept. But they're true. And my coach, who's outside that mastermind group, still pounds that into my head and still has to reinforce it and still has to challenge me. Ask yourself, the coaches in your life, are they a good fit? Do they understand what you're doing? Do they understand your business well enough to make a change in you so that you can go to the next level? If the people in your life that are speaking into you are not a good fit, you're going to find yourself investing again and again and again and again and again. I have coaching clients that I work with, some right now, some that we've kind of finished our course, but that doesn't mean they won't be back, but who've said outright, I've spent $250,000 on other people getting bad advice. I spent a whole lot of money getting advice from other people that has not turned into revenue, has not turned into opportunity, has not made me a better me. It just made me more like them. That's not a good fit. Oh, trust me, those people would love to take your money. They would love to take your money and try to create another clone because it makes them feel successful. That doesn't necessarily mean they've helped you to transform into the who that you're supposed to be so that you can be who you're supposed to be, do what you're supposed to do, and have what you're supposed to have. Myron Golden nailed it. You got to be first before you can do, before you can have. Story Power Academy is designed to help you be. Story Power 6 weeks booster business course helps you see how the stories, the incidences, the aha moments of your life have valuable insight for other people to grow their business. The Attitude Hack tells you how to take those stories to build your brand and build the culture of your business as you're building it. Those two things are a great fit for any business at any level. Trust me, we've measured more than once. We've cut again and again and again. We've honed and filed and routed until these pieces fit in the progress of your business. I challenge you to check them out. Is it a good fit? Are the people you hired on your team a good fit? Are the coaches in your life a good fit? You can't invest in the fix as easily as you can invest in the fit. Get the fit right first, and then you don't have to spend as much time fixing. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Loren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Loren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Loren will serve you well.
Subscribe now for access to our extensive media library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. Begin your personal growth plan at storypoweracademy.com.